All right, we're working.
Okay.
All right. I need a 5x5 out there in the live chat. If you guys can hear me, let me know. I think we've got this fixed. Fucking
Yep.
restream, man. I tell you
The
what.
screen connected just now.
All right, we're working.
Okay.
We good out there? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me?
I heard you. I muted the channel now.
Hear me? Let me know.
Hear it?
I think. Good. All right. I see 5x5 in the chat. I hear myself coming through on Tennessee Homesteaders end. I don't know if we're working on the other platforms. Let me see. Are we connected? It says we're streaming everywhere. So hopefully wherever you're watching, you guys can hear us. Man, I'm really sorry about that, guys. That was super frustrating. I know what to do now when that happens next time. Because this
Panic.
panic and start breaking. No, in all
Like a machine.
yeah. Looks like the only place we're not. Oh no, we're working on Rumble too. Cool. All right, we're everywhere. We are everywhere, and we are on a bit of a delayed start here. So we're gonna forego obviously roll call, intro, even we're I'm just gonna say our sponsor today is Earth Garden Botanicals. I don't, just given the shortness on time, I'm not gonna do the whole song and dance, but you guys know earthgardenbotanicals.com, promo code 412 for 10% off all the amazing wellness products over there. So go over there and say hi to Jolene for us. But we'll just kind of jump right in here today. It is July 1st, kicking off a new month in 2024. And obviously got my OG crew, TN Homesteader and Drunk Pinata riding shotgun. I don't know if Pinata is still doing his thing over there or ending or what's going on. But TN, hope you're having a good start to your week, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I thought you said, I hope you're having a good start to your weekend. I thought, okay, I'm not the one. I'm the one that's not working. So no, I'm doing okay. Um, it's hot out here, but it's got to deal with climate change. What can I tell you? I did my bit. Bought a nice cold pack of beer,
Nice.
But no, I'm kidding. I have some, but I haven't bought any. So no, everything's cool. The went into the city today, which I loathe. I was telling you about that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, but kind of have to. Or not that I have to, but what I needed to do, I had to. That's that. Aside from that, copacetic, the rally was excellent. Like we talked about last week, and the ruling today. Things are looking mighty bleak for the left, and you can see it. You can see it whether it's in writing, in image, or in video. They're not. Well, some of them are panic. What I'm saying is that the majority of them are blowing their brains out.
Yeah, they are. No, they're definitely panicked. Got a lot of clips to show it. Got a lot of things that we could show you to give you the general mindset of the left after you combine a few of these Supreme Court rulings, the Chevron doctrine being thrown out, um, the J6, the 1512C ruling, and now the immunity case, plus just the dismal performance of Joe Biden, the impossible spot the Democrats have put themselves in at this point in the election cycle. All fantastic stuff to cover, and it's really got them in a panic state of mind for sure. We're going to cover as much as that as we can here on a bit of a shortened schedule. Guys, hit that red pill button, repost the show, share the links wherever you're watching. If you're on Rumble, hit that thumbs up. And again, sorry about the delayed start. Chris Condon says, what, no greetings and intro today? No, because we lost a half hour to technical difficulties. So no time for that today, unfortunately. Kind of a weird start to the week, but we'll do about 20 minutes or so across all platforms. We will go exclusively to pilled.net at the top of the 5 o'clock hour as usual. So buckle up and get on over there if you haven't already found your way to the comfy bunker. Pinata, are you with us, or are you still doing your thing, closing up your side of the show? All right, looks like he's still over there finishing up. So whenever he'll pop in whenever he's done, I'm sure. But I wanted to start with just some serious cringe, some Monday cringe. I saw this and I was just like, oh my God. So I'm gonna play this. I got some comments I want to make afterwards, and then we'll get into the meteor side of the news here. But holy hell, guys, this is something else.
No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real HU? You know. So what's on your mind?
Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they're not like us.
They not.
There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote.
Yep.
The freedom to love who you love, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her government tell her what to do. No.
All right, so that was during the BET Awards. And oh my God, have you ever seen anything so cringy? Kamala Harris out there in these streets. Nah, they ain't like us. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me with this? These people, I don't, all right. And I don't think there's many.
She's right. You know that? She's right.
There's not many lefties that watch this show. There's not a lot of people on the left that watch this show. Probably none, honestly. But just in case, and I'm curious if any of you are out there, but if you lean left in your politics, and you happen to stumble in here and have stuck around through some morbid curiosity of what it is we're saying or talking about, are you not insulted by this? This is so insulting to your intelligence. Like the pandering, the cringiness, the over the top contrived nature of it all. Like Kamala Harris is out in these streets. Like whoever, I don't even know who that woman was she's talking about or talking to. I'm guessing
She's an actress. She's an actress.
Yeah. These people, like they live on a different plane of existence than you. And every 4 years they come around with their, like ghetto accent or ghetto like cadence to speaking, or like we out in these streets, like they not us, you know what? Like it's so demeaning.
I ain't no tired.
Yeah, I keep hot sauce in my purse or whatever.
Exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me with this? Like, aren't you tired of it? Aren't you tired of being insulted? Aren't you tired of this cringy ass, contrived, demeaning, belittling content aimed at you? Don't you want to be like, they think so little of you that you're gonna watch this and be motivated by it, inspired to act or vote because of this? Like fake exchange, like they're having a FaceTime conversation where they're both being filmed from outside, and then you're getting like the shot of Kamala on the like who does this work on? Like who watches this and is like, oh my God, girl, you're right, you are out in these streets. You're just like me. I'll make sure I get to that voting booth. Like, are you fucking kidding me with this? It is like so unbelievably insulting, so unbelievably demeaning, belittling. Like it's I don't understand how these people think that this is effective messaging. And I want to meet the people this actually works on, the people that watch this and feel like they get something from it, because it's so mind-blowingly stupid. And insulting is the biggest word I keep coming back to. Like you just have to have the IQ of your shoe size to fall for this shit. Sorry, TM, go ahead. But I could not. It's just insane.
Infant shoe size, by the way. But the funny part is in the beginning when she says, in the street language, they're not like us. She's right. It's true. They're not like you. You're not like them. You think you're above them, but you're pandering to your point.
Oh my God.
Because, I mean, realistically, when was the last time we saw Kamala Harris in the south side of Chicago? When was the last time we saw her in the Tenderloin in San Francisco, or the ghetto in LA, right? The Watts area, let's say, that the South Central LA, same concept, or the Bronx in New York. You don't. Neither the actress, unless it's a set. It's the only time you're going to see them out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was the. There's a couple of shows that are out there, I think, called having to do with drugs and prostitution, and I think she's one of the actresses. From the advertisement, I don't watch that shit, but from advertisement. Anyways, they're not at all. So you're right. I mean, the whole point about how they're trying to make it like it's their normal convo about normal things that concern the people that they are like. Bullshit. And let alone what she's wearing. I mean, think about this. If anything, you would have had her in some form of casual outfit rather than pure white, pristine, sitting behind an official desk, right?
It's unbelievable, Tien.
But I'm telling you, there are people, I don't know any in particular, but it has to work on some of them. They gotta have some form of positive feedback on this shit for them to be able to put it out there. They have focus groups and stuff like that. So, are they delusional in that they believe it themselves because the focus groups that they get are basically self-fulfilling? I don't know.
It makes me
Imagine
honestly.
Trump coming out and doing something like that. Imagine Trump coming out and looking. It would look so freaking phony. Not that that didn't, but look so freaking phony and so context, out of character that it's. But he has had impromptu conversations, like he called into to Flynn's one of the Flynn's gatherings. He called in unannounced,
It'd be
and they
like
put him right there on the speaker, right?
it'd be like if you're doing a rally in like East Tennessee or down in Alabama or somewhere, and all of a sudden developed like a Southern draw. You know what I mean? And like started talking like a cowboy. You know,
Exactly.
that would be the equivalent. He's from freaking New York City. We all know he's from New York City. We know who he is. Like
Right.
you can talk about things we care about without change, like trying to change your entire persona. Like it's kind of like what George W. did in a way. Like acting like he's some kind of cowboy himself when he's like from where, like Connecticut or something like that.
No, he lives in Texas.
Well, he lives in Texas, but he's not where
Yeah.
he's from. He's from.
Well, they were born in Maine, but
Yeah. The point is like it's so God, the pandering is off the charts, and they do this every 4 years.
oh yeah,
But Kamala Harris doesn't care about black people. She's imprisoned a
no.
shit ton of them. You know what I mean? Like, I think Tulsi Gabbard said it best. She sits there and talks about, how marijuana laws are too strict or whatever, when meanwhile she's, or joked about smoking marijuana, listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg or whatever.
When the music,
While
when the music
simultaneously
didn't exist at that time,
yeah,
the
yeah,
songs
while
didn't
simultaneously
exist.
imprisoning black people all over the state of California for smoking it themselves or for possessing it themselves. Um, but
Correcting myself, he was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
I thought it was Connecticut, yeah. So I mean, it's just holy hell.
Yeah,
I, yeah, thank
it's incredible, but
you for
it's
jumping in
not
on.
new. We've seen it, and it's funny. We always see it from the Democrats. We saw it with Joe in the black church. We saw it with Obama and the preacher cadence, even though he's part black. But we saw it with that preacher cadence, right? And
Yeah,
then and then you saw it with Hillary Clinton multiple times. You've seen it with Biden, and now you see it with Hamilton. They every single one of them. That's why it really is astonishing. Is if you were to only look at one of them, okay, that's interesting. But when you look at it, that it's a habitual pattern, like you said, every 4 years, and they all do it. Except you don't hear it from the Republicans unless they're making a joke, unless they're making an overt aspect of trying to imitate the language for some reason, not necessarily pandering, right? Like a
Right.
joke. But shit.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to spend any more time on it. I saw it and when we had I thought we were gonna have a full 2 hours. I was like, this would be a fun way to start a Monday. But my God. Yeah, exactly, Duffy. That's what the Institute. I ain't no ways tired. I mean, give
Exactly.
me a freaking break with that shit. All right, let's get into the big news of the day, and that is the Supreme Court ruling on immunity, and they ruled Trump has some immunity in the federal elections case. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that presidents enjoy immunity from criminal prosecution for official but not unofficial acts in a decision that's expected to delay former President Donald Trump's trial in the federal election case in Washington. The Supreme Court held that, quote, under our constitutional structure of separated powers, the nature of presidential power entitles a former president to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions within his conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority, and he is entitled to at least presumptive immunity from all prosecution for all his official acts. There is no immunity for unofficial acts. The July 1 decision remands the case to the district court for further consideration. Chief Justice John Roberts penned the majority opinion, which was joined in full by Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined part of the opinion while issuing a concurrence of her own. We're going to get to Amy Coney Barrett because this woman is the biggest fraud in the history of America. No, that's a bit harsh, but this woman is the biggest fraud ever. We thought we were cooking with gasoline when we got her on the Supreme Court. Holy hell. She is so scared of her own shadow, or just not the constitutional scholar we thought she was. I don't know what her deal is, but holy hell. Anyway, we'll spend some time on her later this week or later today. We'll see how the show flows. But I've got major issues with ACB. Justice Sonia Sotomayor penned a dissent, which was joined by Justices Ketanji Brown Jackson and Elena Kagan. Justice Jackson also issued a dissent. Former President Trump responded to the decision on Truth Social, saying, quote, big win for our Constitution and democracy, proud to be an American. The ruling is a partial win for former President Trump, who asked for a broader form of immunity than the justice ultimately granted. Former President Donald Trump had asked the court to rule that he enjoyed immunity from criminal prosecution for his official acts unless Congress had impeached and convicted him for those acts. D.C. District Judge Tanya Chutkan had rejected the idea that presidents enjoyed immunity from criminal prosecution, as did the U.S. Court of Appeals in the D.C. Circuit. During oral argument in April, the conservative justices seemed poised to remand the case back to the district court in Washington with instruction on what constitutes official and private acts for further fact-finding proceedings. Quote, we are writing a rule for the ages, Neil Gorsuch said during an oral argument. He and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson both made clear they were concerned about cases beyond former President Trump's, which has forced the court to grapple with what constitutes president's official conduct. Attorney D. John Sauer argued for former President Trump, and former Deputy Solicitor General Michael Dreeben argued for Special Counsel Jack Smith. The most recent time the Supreme Court issued a major ruling on presidential immunity was in 1982 in Nixon versus Fitzgerald. The court ruled that presidents enjoyed absolute immunity from civil liability for actions that fell within the outer perimeter of their official duties. You don't have the link, homie. All right. So anyway, your initial reaction to the immunity case while I get Pixels the link.
It's, for me, it goes down the path that we discussed. They had to give him immunity for presidential acts. The question is going to be what is the outer boundary of those presidential acts? And obviously, I think Smith is more than likely going to argue that not with the Supreme Court, but with Chutkan, if not Cannon, but most likely Chutkan, that January 6th is beyond the outer boundaries of his official duty, which is bullshit because he was still president. He was still president for another 12 days. So, and as president, and Trump has said this multiple times, as president, he can question whether the elections were fair or not.
Yeah.
They're arguing, if you look at it from the what I was able to read out of the entire, because it's pretty long, pretty wordy. Um, the argument tends to be his alleged coercion of Pence, according to the indictment, according to Jack Smith, obviously. So this is going to be an interesting one when it hits the desk. I'm surprised they remanded it to the lower court. I think they should have given it, and I expect that they were going to give it to Congress, because this is a legislative issue.
Well, let's see about that. So it says, what's next? The Supreme Court remanded the case, sending it back to the D.C. District Court with the directive to assess in the first instance whether a prosecution involving Trump's alleged attempts to influence the vice president's oversight of the certification proceeding would pose any dangers of intrusion on the authority and functions of the executive branch. Another aspect of the decision directed the district court to weigh whether various aspects of Mr. Smith's indictment constituted official or unofficial acts that included allegations that former President Trump attempted to sway state officials using fraudulent states of electors and his communications on January 6, 2021. The court's syllabus or overview of the ruling noted that, quote, the president possesses extraordinary power to speak to his fellow citizens and on their behalf, quoting another opinion in Trump versus Hawaii. Quote, so most of a president's public communications are likely to fall comfortably within the outer perimeter of his official responsibilities, it added. It's unclear how much of Mr. Smith's indictment will remain after the lower court proceedings are completed. Quote, on remand, the district court must carefully analyze the indictment's remaining allegations to determine whether they too involve conduct for which a president must be immune from prosecution, the Supreme Court said. And the parties and the district court must ensure that the sufficient allegations support the indictment's charges without such conduct. Testimony or private records of the president or his advisors probing such conduct may not be admitted as evidence at trial. The decision came just days after the Supreme Court ruling in Fisher versus United States, which vacated the D.C. District or D.C. Circuit's interpretation of a statute 18 U.S. Code Section 1512C. The Justice Department used to pursue January 6 defendants and President Trump. In a footnote, Justice Roberts said that if necessary, the district court could determine in the first instance whether the Section 1512C2 charges may proceed in light of our decision in Fisher. So there you go. So I guess the
So
lower.
that's interesting. They bound it to the indictments.
Mhm.
So that's good. Because see, when I was saying that it should go to the legislatures for the legislature to define the official duties, but in the Supreme Court, what they did is they went and basically said, use the indictments and judge whether they're within or without based on what is charged in the indictment, not open-ended. That's a pretty good compromise from what I'm expecting, or what I was expecting, that it would have gone to Congress. Just like they did with the 14th Amendment one, that it's up to Congress to make the definition of insurrection, et cetera, right? Which is not defined in the Constitution.
Yep.
So in this particular case, it's kind of interesting. So it will be interesting to see what Check-in does, because now it goes back to how the indictments were written.
The big thing here is this delays this case easily beyond the election. I think, if nothing else, that's a huge win for Donald Trump specifically. Now, there's a larger constitutional aspect to this as far as how it relates to other presidents and what falls inside or outside of these parameters of what could be prosecuted and what can't be. So there's two different kind of ways you could look at it.
But it won't apply here. It won't apply. See, they made the decision and by going towards the indictment, and this is what, in a way, Brown, in her portion of the dissent, was opining about, that the court, that her colleagues seemed to want to deal with it on a case-by-case basis, where she was arguing, in a way, that it should be a much broader, more comprehensive opinion. But by binding it to the indictments, the hands are tied, right? and so it won't be necessarily applicable to other presidents. I mean, they will be using this as more than likely as case study, case law to reference, but it's not applicable because it's based on the indictment, the specific wording that's used in the indictment.
That's interesting. So it leaves the door open for other presidents to be, I guess, prosecuted, although likely it'll also find its way up to the Supreme Court and arguments will be made as to whether or not they're being indicted and charged for official acts or unofficial acts.
Exactly,
And it
exactly.
should be it should be a case by case situation.
Well, from the aspect of there are some things that are going to be obviously ruled official. Um, I mean, again, I go back to Biden and the droning of the family when he was given evidence that they were allegedly evidence that they were the terrorists dealing with the bombs, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's true or not, that's where an investigation would come into play. But the whole point is that as it relates to this, that was an official act.
No, another thing that I think is worth mentioning here is that they didn't tie this to the vice president, only the president, right? So you could still hammer Biden for his Ukraine-related corruption while he was vice president. That leaves the door open for that.
Yeah, if you indict him, but then comes down to if there's an indictment, and then the question is, did he have the authority? Was he working under the authority of Obama when he basically made that statement?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not disputing what you're saying, Pixels. I'm saying that's where the nuances of a case by case comes into play. Right.
Right. It's certainly not as simple as I kind of laid it out, and I'm glad that you mentioned that.
It's very interesting. So I feel like this is best case scenario as far as it could be right now.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, Adel, I've never felt more confident in our position and our ability to actually hammer these people and win. I can't think of a single moment in time in which I've been involved in this movement where I felt more confident.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, it really started piling up last week when you got a couple of these Supreme Court rulings going our direction. The Biden faceplant on the debate was a huge moment. They're starting to realize that they're screwed. There's really no escape. We'll talk more about that maybe later in the show today. Just depends on, again, timing.
All we have to do is play last night.
Yeah,
Sorry.
then you have this right here, which I think this was the biggest threat to Donald Trump with the lawfare aspect of it, was this case being overseen by Chutkan. I really thought that this was the biggest threat, and it's been all but neutered, and if nothing else, it's going to be delayed far beyond the election. So
Let's see if she has the balls. If she has the balls like Flynn's judge, Smith was his name, right? Remember where the DOJ says we're dropping the case. I don't care. We're still prosecuting it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Chutkan does. She's clearly
Yeah. No, I agree. Slightly different considering it's a SCOTUS opinion, right? So
it's a completely different situation. And I will, like I said, we'll see. And there's still going to potentially even be a ruling if Jack Smith is a legitimate prosecutor or a special counsel at all, too. So, I mean, this could take more hits, more delays. Point is that the lawfare threat is failing miserably. Fannie Willis, no way that trial's happening. This one is going to go beyond the election. The documents case, you could just see Judge Cannon building towards a dismissal there with everything she's unsealing and exposing from the dirty prosecutional misconduct. And it was Emmett Sullivan, Delia, thank you, that did the Flynn case. But yeah, you could see it building there. So they've laid all, and I'm almost positive too that once the appeals process is through on Bragg's case in New York, that's not going to stand up either. So Donald Trump, Teflon Don, most likely is going to make it through the election and be inaugurated without any of this stuff really scathing him. in any meaningful way. All they've done was confirm to anyone that wasn't sure that he is an outsider. He's not part of the system, and helped him raise record amounts of money. Helped him really with a lot of demographics that really had a different perspective on him up until they saw him being treated this way. They've really done us a huge favor. The boomerang effect on this lawfare is really starting to come into focus right now, and it's great to see. We've got a lot of reaction coming up here. We're gonna get into a lot of reaction on this. We got to talk more about the Democrats' situation with Joe Biden and where that's all going. Some interesting things coming out over the weekend as far as the infighting within the Democrat machine over what to do about sleepy Uncle Joe. And yeah, got some other things too if we have time, but plenty more to get into in hour number 2. That'll be exclusively on pilled.net. If you're watching on Rumble, just look beneath the stream in the description. You'll see the link there. I'm dropping it in the live chat as well. I'll throw it over on D Live too. If you can't get to those links for whatever reason, it's real simple. Just go to pilled.net in your browser. Find us at 412 Productions. Search us in the search bar. You'll see our live. You'll see our thumbnail with all the other channels that are live right now at the top of your screen on mobile, on the left-hand side on desktop. So jump on over. I'm gonna play a quick little 60-second video. We'll come back on the other side, officially say goodbye to our other platforms, and then we'll read your gold pills on the other side of that and continue on with today's conversation. See you guys in 1 minute.
Pill.net is proud to host 412 Productions, exclusively on the true home of free speech. To continue watching the show, we are here to help you over to Pilled. If you're new to the platform, just click on the welcome link provided. It will then automatically walk you through signing up for your free account. If you already have a Pill.net account, follow the link provided directing you straight to 412 Productions channel. We are excited to have you join the Pilled family, and if you have any questions at all, please email support@Pill.net. Enjoy the rest of 412 Productions on Pill.net. Free speech lives here.
All right. Thank you guys, everybody out there who jumped over from the other platforms. I greatly appreciate it. Again, that's over at pill.net. That link is in the live chat and in the video description on Rumble. It's in the live chat on DLive as well, or go to pill.net. No, Joe Lane, we're shutting it down on time. Everyone knows where to find us. If you're on Rumble, it's super easy. Just go to Pill. It's a great platform. It works great. Great chat, great community around it, and again, completely free speech oriented. There's no one that's going to shut down Pill.net on us because we don't rely on any of those big tech infrastructure or corporate influence. None of that. Like it's as grassroots as it gets. But anyway, get on over there. We're going to go for another hour. If you're not going to join us, no worries. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I believe Craig Mason of Reasonable TV is joining us tomorrow. I think in hour number 2. Wednesday, we should have Daddy Dragon coming by and hanging out with us for the show. Thursday, we're taking off for 4th of July. It's Papa 412's birthday, so I'll be hanging out with Dad and the family all day long. I'm not going to be around for a show on Thursday. Friday, we'll be back to wrap up the week with the OG crew. And then, yeah, that'll do it for this week here. And then the following Monday, we'll get Scott Woke Societies up on the broadcast and see how he's doing and what he's up to. So lots of good stuff on the way. But again, we've got another hour to go on Pill. Jump on over. Otherwise, have an awesome rest of your Monday, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m.